Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Nancy Jules from the Department of English, and in this video we'll discuss the topic ballads, which is included in our paper Popular Literature and Culture. So, what is a ballad? Ballad is another traditional popular literature form, and it is a form of verse or poem or a song that is meant to be sung or recited, and it is characterized by the presentation of dramatic and exciting events in a simple narrative style. So, as we heard just now, it is a form of verse and it is often accompanied by music. And ballad is transmitted orally, or it is passed from one person to another or from one generation to another through verbal medium, and it tells a story. Ballad tells a story, and they have long history in music, poetry, and literature. Ballad as a musical and poetic form has its origin in Europe in the late Middle Ages. And this form was popularized by traveling minstrels who sung on carts and who traveled from one place to another and who sung this to other people. So now about the types of ballad, there are traditional ballad and literary ballad. First, let's take a look at the traditional ballad. So this is the oldest form of ballad and is also called folk ballad. And they talks about tragic, comic or heroic stories, and it gives importance or it emphasizes on the central dramatic event. So these traditional ballads existed as an oral tradition before being recorded or being written down. And then the form of ballad is easy, and it made the word so easy to remember. So it was, transmitted or it was passed from one person to another in an oral or verbal medium. And Barbara Allen and Tamlin are examples of traditional ballad. Now about the second category, that is literary ballad. Literary ballad is also known as lyrical ballad, and this appeared in the 18th century as a new variation of the traditional ballad form. And lyrical ballad have nothing to do with oral tradition, even though this was an imitation of traditional ballad, because it was not passed from one person to another in an oral medium, and this was less strict in conventions regarding meter and rhyme, where traditional ballads sticked on to meter and rhyme. And unlike traditional ballads, they took everyday life as its subject matter. So literary ballad or lyrical ballad discussed about the everyday life. Edgar Allan Poe's Annabelle is an example of literary ballad. So now about the characteristics of ballad. Every ballad is a story in a verse form. Every ballad contains a or narrates a story, and it has a universal appeal. So ballads are widely accepted by people around the world, and it uses colloquial or local language. This is another characteristic. And ballad has a sudden or abrupt opening rather than setting the opening or slowly opening the story. And it uses stock phrases and to make it easy to remember. So we said that it is orally or it is recited, and the stock phrases or such words make it easy to remember, and it uses simple language. So ballads are often written in a series of stanzas of four lines or quatrains, and they usually follows the rhyming scheme A B C B. And the language is impersonal, that is the narrator or the person who is narrating will not interfere or will not add his subjective judgment in the story, and then it is in the third person objective narration. And to give a musical effect, some sounds are repeated, so there are frequent uses of alliteration, and a quick succession of scenes and incidents is another characteristic of ballad. So the story will be moving fast. and supernatural element can appear on important part of the narration. And as your assignment, please note down the characteristics of ballads. And thank you so much for listening.